Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of MagicReviewed.com. Today, for the first time ever in the history of MagicReviewed.com, I am making this video without knowing what the star rating is that I'm going to be giving this product. I've got no idea. We're doing Bound today. Alright? Basically, the effect is that. That's right. Linked rubber bands. They're really linked because that's what you're buying. You're buying a stack of 40 sets, so 80 rubber bands that are all linked to, so 40 pairs of linked rubber bands. That's a pair, so forth. That's what you're getting. You get that, which is 10 single bands, and you get this. Nothing in it. Okay, it came with a DVD, but it might as well have had nothing in it. The DVD is 5.5 minutes long, 5 minutes 26 seconds, and part of that is the not the trailer, but kind of an intro / live presentation. So I mean, you get like 2.5 minutes of instruction. Listen, SansMinds people, I'm getting tired of that. Put some meat on your DVDs, man. Paul Harris released souvenir linking rubber bands a while back, maybe a couple, 2-3 years back. It's the exact same thing. It's pre-made linked rubber bands. I got a set right here that I'm going to open. Sorry, they're stuck. Okay, here we go. Should have had this ready ahead of time. Sorry, guys. Now, here's the problem with the Paul Harris rubber bands. These rubber bands are weird looking. Okay? They're shaped funny. They're permanently shaped like this, and so they're a little bit weird. I mean, they got talcum powder all over them. Sorry about that. But you can see that, I mean, they're still linked, and they're really thick. So they're nice compared to the SansMinds ones, which are thin, but what do you see? What's the difference here? These look like real rubber bands. These look weird. So the Paul Harris rubber bands weren't as good, but the DVD was awesome. It had tons of stuff. Now I got moist talcum powder. Those have been sitting in my drawer for years, all over my fingertips. Anyway, the Paul Harris DVD was awesome. It had tons of stuff on it. It had, I don't know, it was at least an hour long, maybe longer, but it had all kinds of ways to switch in and switch out the linked rubber bands, bunch of ways to show them as if they look unlinked, but they really are the linked bands. A bunch of different rubber band effects. I mean, tons and tons of stuff. This one you get squat. You get 5 minutes, and most of it is not even real useful information. I mean, I'd almost say none of it was useful. I don't want to quite go there. But basically, I'm going to expose the whole thing on here because, I mean, bottom line is you're going to buy, it even tells you in that trailer that you're buying pre-linked rubber bands, so there's really not much more to give you. So this review is already, it's 4 minutes right now. I'm looking at the timer. 1 more minute and it'll be longer than the video. All right, that's how bad this is. So the idea is you have one set of linked bands here and a couple loose ones here. Okay, you grab 2, you hand them out to the spectator, they examine them, and then here's the most retarded thing in the world. They examine these, they're separate, they're fine, and then you take them back. Then you do a switch where you drop these off, pick these up, and then put these away, and then you hand them right back to them. That's not a bad switch, okay? But the weird part is, why am I taking them back from you only to go near the pile of rubber bands in my hand and then put them away? And the justification they gave in the video is you do it as a gesture as though you're using this hand to clean up what's in the other hand. I'm okay with that, but if I'm doing that, why did I grab the rubber bands back from you in the first place? Stupid. There's no justification for that. Now, having said that, this is what you do with linking rings. The big metal clangy things, that's what you do. You have pre-linked ones and unlinked ones. You hand out the unlinked ones, then you switch them and pretend to link them. I mean, that's basically what you do. The difference is you don't necessarily hand the 2 rings to the spectator and have them link them. Well, that is what you do in this effect. So once you've switched in the rubber bands, you give them to the spectator. And I mean, those look like two single rubber bands, but they are linked. And you give them to the spectator and you have them hold them this way, and then they link them in their hand and you do your magic, whatever. We just hit 5 minutes, 42 seconds. Now we're longer than the video that you get with these rubber bands. Anyway, you then do the magic and you tell them to let go of one rubber band, and this is all in their hands. So that's their big claim of why this is the better or different effect or whatever, is that it's in their hands. The link happens in their hands. Okay, it does. And the ad copy says, you know, they have two loose bands, then they link in their hands. I have a little bit of an issue with that, but I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. Here's why. You could read that ad copy and assume or infer from it that the spectator takes the two separate bands, the spectator holds the two separate bands, and then they link in their hands. That's not what happens, obviously. Okay, you got to do a switch. And so I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt and just saying they were trying to protect the method. That's why they worded it that way. So I'm going to let that one slide. The other thing that really annoyed me, though, is in the trailer they show 3 super visual rubber band links I've never seen before, and I would love to learn how to do them. And I thought that's what you'd be getting with this DVD. No. All you're getting is Herman saying why this is such an awesome video for about a minute. And then I'll quote live performance, which I had real issues with. I'll come back to in a minute. And then showing you that switch that I just taught you, basically. And that's it. That's all there. I mean, there's nothing else on the video. SansMinds, put some meat on your DVDs, please. And then there's like 19 hours of commercials for other SansMinds products. Man, they could add a bonus section on there with some of the rubber band ideas, something, anything. All right. Back to the live performance that I had a problem with. So, you now have bought the DVD, right? You know what you get. You get 40 linked sets of rubber bands and 10 single ones. So you know that you got to do a switch because you learned that on the DVD. So let me see a full performance from start to finish, uncut. I get that on an ad trailer you need to cut it. I get that. Okay? But, you know, because you need to protect the method and you don't want to give things away, which I've just given everything away right here anyway. And that's what I'm doing to people that are annoying me now. Anyway, flame me all you want. That's what's happening here. So I get this uncut, or I get this cut live presentation. And then in the presentation, it shows him holding out the rubber bands, and she picks up 2 single ones, and then he has her examine them, and then it cuts, and then it has her holding them like this, and then she drops them and they link. Or drops one and it links. Well, okay, that is the effect, but because I've bought it, I'd like to see the switch in action. I'd like to see how he works with the spectator and how he choreographs everything with the spectator. You never get to see that. All you do is see a quick little 3-second demo of it in the studio. You never see it in a live performance. It drives me crazy. If you're going to do a live performance on the DVD, which I think you should, especially when it deals with something like this, where you've got to justify handing the rubber bands out, taking them back, handing them back out, stuff like that, you need to see it in action to understand how it works. Now, I get that there's a ton of people out there, working pros, and I would even put myself in that category, that I know if I were to do this trick, how I would choreograph it, how I would handle it, and how I would do it. But that's not everybody. People who are buying this, you need to be aware that you're not going to be taught squat on this video. Nothing. Okay? Now, the Paul Harris DVD was $35. This one is $35. Put aside that I didn't care for the quality of the Paul Harris bands. They still work great. They still accomplish the effect. And they're still 2 solid, round, oval objects that have somehow linked together. Regardless of how weird they are, they still link together, and it's still impossible. So, but you're paying $35 for that, or you're paying $35 for this, which is no DVD essentially, nothing on it, but you still get all the rubber bands. So, in a perfect world, you get the Paul Harris DVD and you get the SansMinds rubber bands, because I think their rubber bands are way better. They look great. They look like regular rubber bands. They look excellent. So, what it comes down to is this. If you have a use for pre-linked rubber bands, then you'll be very happy with your purchase here. These rubber bands look great. They're excellent quality. I mean, you can see the seam on them. You know, I'm going to see if I can, or not, because only one rubber band needs to have a seam, right? Okay, I lied. On this particular one, I'm not readily seeing the seam on it. Some of them I noticed it right away. So there you go. Look through your pile and see if you have some without the seam or without a noticeable seam. Because they're recommending you give these away. And you know when you give them away, people are going to want to just examine the crap out of them. And they will withstand that very much. They look great. So if you already have a use for a pre-linked rubber bands, then I could recommend this to you, and I'd feel happy that you'd get your money's worth. $35 for 40 sets of pre-linked bands. It's less than $1. It's less than $1 a set. It's not too bad. So they also claim that you can get refills. They don't say where or how, and I looked on Murphy's and I didn't see them there, so I don't know how much those cost or anything. Okay, so again, if you think you can use pre-linked bands, bam, you're good. If you're looking to learn how to use pre-linked bands, you're going to be very disappointed with your purchase. So here we go, coming up with a final star status. I don't know what I'm going to say yet, but walking through everything, the effect is good. Okay, which again, I don't really spend a lot of put a lot of emphasis on that when I make my rating, but I think most people would agree that linking rubber bands is a pretty good effect, and it looks good. Well, I don't know. Does it look good? Because it just happens in their hands, so I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. Is that a good effect to have them hold the bands and have them link? Who knows? That's for you to decide. So leaving that out of it, let's move on to method. The method, it's the same method for the linking rings. So is that a good method? I think so. Linking rings are flat. I mean, they stood the test of time. And so doing a switch, I get that. That's the method they teach. I have a little bit of problem with justifying how that switch is made. But the method is a gimmick, these pre-linked rubber bands here, and switching them in. To me, that's a pretty decent method. I just think there's a little bit of issue with the handling of a wire, you taking the bands back. Advertisement copy. Overall, it was actually okay. The ad copy says the spectator has two bands in their hand, they link in their hand. Obviously, that would be real magic. You have to do a switch, but leaving out the switch in the ad copy makes sense. They're trying to protect the method. But the other part was there were 3 tricks in the ad copy that I had a real problem with, the fact that they were not taught on the DVD. That's a big hit to the advertisement copy to me. Finally, the product quality itself. The rubber bands are excellent. They're top quality rubber bands. They're very, very good. I would have been just happy to buy them without the DVD. The DVD's crap. It's worthless, basically. So, it goes back to my final statement, a quasi-final statement a moment ago. If you need these rubber bands, get this product. If you need to learn how to use these rubber bands, don't get this product because you're not going to learn how to use them. So, having said that, I'm leaning towards somewhere in the middle. I want to say 2.5 stars with a stone status of grubble. But I think I'm going to lean on a 3-star rating and give it a status of gem with a teeny, teeny, teeny stinking little bitty G for the gem. Let's go with that. That's the official rating. 3-ish stars, 3 stars, stone status of gem, almost a grubble. How do you like that? That's enough. This video is officially now 3 times longer than the DVD that you get with this product. Let's add to it a little bit more by giving the random iTunes song of the moment. Today we have, bam, Warrant, Blind Faith. You listen to that annoying pitch and static, I drink. Oh, I love the song. I love Warrant. I know they're a hair band, but whatever. Blind Faith. That takes you back to the day, doesn't it? The 80s. All right, folks, that's it for me. Sorry about the long, rambly, unscripted, like any of these are scripted at all, never. But anyway, this one's over. It's done. I'm out of here. See you on the next review, which is probably going to be Chocolate Coin. I had a problem getting the DVD to work on my laptop, so we'll see how that goes. But that's it. I'll see you guys on the next review. Peace and out.